In this module, we're going to look at a counter attendant at a council office who has to deal with this angry and aggressive customer whose plumbing business is struggling and has just been given $300 in parking fines to pay.
Good morning, sir. How can I help you?
Look, I'm a tradesman. I run my own business. Yet you lot have booked me 10 times for parking in loading zones. Now, I've got $300 worth of parking fines and I'm told if I don't pay them, I'll end up in court.
Do you have commercial registration for your vehicle, sir?
Look, I used to, I'm old ute, but I got a van 6 months ago. Didn't think to get commercial rego, did I?
Well, then I'm afraid you'll have to pay the fines and get your registration swapped over as soon as possible.
Yeah, and what happens if I don't pay?
Well, if you don't, you'll be taken to court and have to pay costs as well.
Oh, I will I, smart ass? Well, you can tell them they can just come and get them. It's all very well for you here and your cushy job. I've got a wife and 3 kids to support, and you're trying to put me out of business. Well, you know what you can do with your stinking bloody fines, don't you?
For Tony, this has been a confrontation that could easily have been avoided had he followed the Lassie system. 6 simple steps for diffusing anger and aggression. The L stands for listening to the person. In their fragile state, they'll sense immediately if you're just going through the motions. Secondly, acknowledge their situation, problem or point of view. Like many violent outbursts, Jeff seems prompted by fear and frustration. His business is doing badly, he can't afford $300 and he's got a wife and kids to support. Tony's next step in the Lassie system would have been to separate Jeff from other customers, which would mean he could have talked more openly about his problem and at the same time not disturb other customers. Getting a seat was also have helped ease the tension and take away a large element of confrontation. Tony could have then indicated and explained all the options open to Jeff, avenues of appeal, hardship concessions and so on. Encouraging him to try one of these options would have emphasised Tony's commitment to resolving the problem, removing much of Jeff's frustration. Perhaps his outburst was out of character, and when confronted with options, encouragement and support, he would not have become nearly as agitated. Let's wind back the clock and give Tony another go at serving Jeff, this time with the help of the Lassie system.
Good morning, sir. How can I help you?
Look, I'm a tradesman. I run my own business. Yet you lot have booked me 10 times for parking in loading zones. Now, I've got $300 worth of parking fines and I'm told if I don't pay them, I'll end up in court.
Do you have commercial registration for your vehicle, sir?
Look, I used to, I'm old ute, but I got a van 6 months ago. Didn't think to get commercial rego, did I?
It's okay, sir. I guess you have to park as close as you can to each building site, otherwise you'll be carting gear and equipment back and forth all day.
Yeah, right.
Look, why don't you come with me down to the meeting room and I'll find out exactly what your situation is.
Yeah, right.
Well, so far so good. Both parties have had a win. Jeff feels vindicated because they've taken his complaint seriously. Tony's got him away from the counter and other customers and has actually shown Jeff that he is more than a clerk. He's sympathetic and can relate to everyday problems.
Right, Mr. Gorman. Now, the first thing we have to do is get your van commercially registered so you don't get any more tickets. I've filled out all the forms. All you have to do is sign here.
Right. What about these bloody tickets?
Right, they're next.
Look, I just can't afford to pay them.
That's okay. That's not uncommon, but simply not paying them isn't the way to go. You'll end up in court and then you have to pay costs as well. What we do have is a pay by instalment system.
Well, how does that work?
It's simple, really. You pay $5 a week until your fines are cleared. There's no interest, no extra charges, but you do have to make sure that every month we get $20.
Yeah, well, I reckon I could handle that. God, it's so hard to keep your head above water nowadays. I mean, I know I should have got commercial rego. I knew I'd cop a few tickets, but it just got out of hand.
That's okay, Mr. Gorman. These things happen. The important thing is that we've sorted it out and you won't get any more tickets.
Remember, if you are confronted with an aggressive and angry customer, remember Lassie. Listen, acknowledge, separate, seat, indicate a solution, and encourage them to try a suggested option. Happy selling!